So I'm the kind of person that absolutely loves having conversations and, of course, getting to know some of my favorite artists better. I've got my very first guest on UMX, and he is a hip-hop artist, Dakar, the king of African rap. He might have dropped out of school, but we see why. Kwesta, hello.
Yeah, what up, yo?
How are you?
I'm good, man. Chilling. Good to be here with the other king.
This drop out of school thing, I don't know, but we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll touch on that.
Let's talk about the fact that, number one, you're on the Hype magazine front cover.
Yeah.
As the most underrated artist.
Yeah.
Musically.
What's
your...
First of all, I'm on the cover. So that's great.
Shout out
you know
to the other king, yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's dope for anybody. But as to being underrated, I mean, I don't decide that. You know what I mean? I don't go. I mean, I'm fine with being underrated. I'm fine with being anything because when I make the music, I know that I'm gonna take it out and someone's gonna rate it. Whether they rate it under the bar or above it, that's not. I can't do anything about that, you know.
So, but wait, if you're fine with being underrated, why are you on a cover talking about being underrated in music?
I'm not against being, like I'm saying, I cannot change what people are saying about.
Right.
You know what I mean? I cannot change their perspective. I mean, if I'm widely looked at as underrated, then I couldn't have done anything about that. Mm-hmm. You know, all I can do is drop the music and people say it's dope, but maybe it doesn't get enough love or whatever. But that's that. I don't want to be in the politics of everything, dude. Me, I'm like, I'm a very studio guy. I want to make the music. I want to put it out there. You know? If you put me on the cover of Overrated, I'd still shoot the damn cover.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, cool, but put me on the cover of Overrated. That's fine. You know, cool. Because I wouldn't have called myself Overrated. Everyone would have, and I'd say, all right, cool, nice to know. Everyone has an opinion.
I like that. I like what you said, actually, about being in the music. You just want to be in the studio.
Yeah.
Now, music has had a very interesting journey, especially last year and the year before. There's almost a new sound coming out every 2 seconds. Just when you've latched onto something else, there's something else coming out. And also it's happening in hip hop a lot. So how much does that influence how you change your sound and how you navigate, how you do things? Because when you started out, it was a different conversation altogether. Yeah. But you mix quite a few things. I mean, you've got Vernac, Neslungu, obviously.
Sure.
So you made those things quite cool. So how much does last year, the year before that, the musical direction influence what you decide you're going to do next?
I mean, there's always this concept.
Pull me K1. Yes.
There's always this concept. I'm an artist. I tell you, yo, me, I don't listen to anybody, you know. I just make my own thing. I don't want to be influenced. That's a lie, man, you know. Music evolves. People come into the industry. Well, people come influence the game. People influence the sound. And that influences you in turn, you know. It doesn't mean you must do the same thing, you know. It doesn't mean you must copy things, you know what I mean. That's a totally different thing, but you must be aware of what's going on, you know what I'm saying. So I mean, as much as I like being in the studio, I listen. You know, I will listen to a so-and-so. I will listen to this new guy. I will listen to this old music. You know what I'm saying? Right. Because as an artist, the more I take in, the more I can take out also. You know, the more I can bring out to the world. So, I mean, the past 2 years have been so amazing. There's been an introduction of so many new artists. You know, especially I'm going to talk about hip hop because also, there's so many and they're so good and the quality is so amazing that whoever was there before cannot even ignore it.
Shouldn't never let us in type
you know behavior,
I mean?
Because you do this 3 years later and that spot that you thought you were, it's gone. You know what I mean? That you thought you were in, it's gone because whoever comes in, I mean, everyone wants your spot initially, you know. Whoever's coming in is coming in to come in. They don't want to come in and say, no, but that's Kwesta's chair. I don't want that.
I won't take that.
They want to push you over the damn chair, you know. So, so music is that. That's how exciting it's been for hip hop. I mean, it's been very competitive. It's been very, you know, controversial also, you know. But at the end of it all, it's you know what I mean. That's the bottom line. That's why I'm proud of it so much because at the end, equality was never compromised in everything.
And speaking of equality umculo, you still found a way to make it super dope that you speak Vernac. Like you've always stuck with that. Why is that? Did you never feel like, maybe let me do more English, you know, because that's the vibe there. That's where it all started, you know, it's very...
You see me, my challenge process of making these songs. I mean, I don't go into studio, it doesn't hit slow, or hit scarce or whatever, you know what I mean? I mean, I go into the studio and try to make the song, and sometimes these lyrics come out in English, sometimes it's Puma neck, you know? I mean, you know, and then you know what I mean? So that was one day for me, you know. All these things were in 124 hours, you know. I did so all of that is something cool in that, you know. So sometimes the line comes out with slow, sometimes it comes out with slow. You know, that's how I grew up. I mean, my 24-hour day, you know what I'm saying? So that's why it comes out in the music. I mean, I try to keep it as honest as possible and as me as possible. So my pomile vene ke pomile. My ngapumanga ipumanga.
So, Masithethe ngodakar too. What influenced that album? What was the big sound influence actually? Direction that you took?
With regards to sound, I didn't take any direction. You know, I didn't want to have a direction sound. I wanted to have a content sound more than a sound direction. You know.
Okay. So
yeah, I wanted to just drive the content I was driving. It was like, Kwesta you know, was vezile, you know, so everything, no apologies of anything. You know?
So you're trying to make people uncomfortable with your truth.
Yeah, it's very honest. It's very boom. It's also very vulnerable also at times, you know, because that's what comes with honesty and things like that, you know. So I'm just bringing it all out there, you know, but I'm using it as a grandparent. Sometimes I'm like, but this is also what happens, you know. There's also things that I don't hide, but maybe sometimes with Mabazi, I don't know why'd you say that, you know? But I mean, it's the music, it's the platform I have, so that's what I do. So that's what drove the album, the majority of it. And also, I really wanted to make it I mean, I've told the story of my come up from Katloho to this, to that, to where I am now. You know what I mean? That was basically the essence of Dakar, basically. The core of Dakar was really that. And then now in Dakar too, I'm like, yeah, now after that story, you know what I mean? So it's a continuation of I mean, if you listen to both of them, you'd feel like you've been with me from the first day I made it to the last one, because you'll try and notice the growth of everything. So that's why I couldn't bring up on the album and Dakar on Dakar too.
Right.
There's a big difference in
okay. So now the journey of a musician in 2016 is completely different, because as an artist you have to think about everything. You have to think about, are we in a place where we're dropping an album first, or we're just going to drop a few singles first? We're digital more than we are maybe CD sales or physical copies in Musica. But also it's also in a place where your music video has to look like a movie, and your performance on stage has to look like a completely different concept and concert as well. So how have you adjusted to that? How are you doing it better, especially as a hip hop artist? Because it's easier when you're a singer, you know, when you just like the vocals and set the mood. But now you're hip hop, there's a lot to get into it, and maybe you're not the dancing type, but now you've got to entertain on stage. So where you at?
Joking,
well, okay, we can dab on it for 2 seconds.
There's that.
But where you at in that? Like, how much pressure is that? How do you feel about that? What space are you in when it comes to all that coming together?
I mean, first of all, I'm proud that the standards are high. I mean, I will start very free and they grab a mic and think everything's going to be fine. I mean, well, with regards to now taking it out to the people, like visually, now I mean, first of all, there's a job I started to the quality of the music. Then now there's the music video. When you take that out, the standards are so high. If yours is not on par with that, channel might not even play it, because the artists themselves have raised the standard to a certain level. They're like, hey man, we'd rather play that. So you got to do that. You know, you got to play at the level that the game is playing to be competitive. Because at the end of the day, especially in rap, this is a competition, man. It's a sport. You know what I mean? As much as we get along and whatever, it's not like Sotublan or whatever, you know. But it's a sport. It's like soccer. I mean, and at the end of the game, we shake hands or whatever. So that's what it is. So I think it's very important with my video that comes into rap, sort of standards are new, you know. And with regards to singles and albums, I think that's artist preference, you know.
So we in a generation drop a song first, like free download vibes, and then maybe have a conversation about radio, and then
maybe do. I mean, I know what I think. The legend Dumi, when he dropped Return of the King, he didn't tell anybody. Just dropped it. Boom. No word out, you know, no single, no nothing, no drive. Just album out, iTunes, now go get it, yabo? And it worked out, you know what I mean? And then I know other guys that would first drop a single, try test the waters, see if she gave me some kumbula or what, you know what I mean? So I think that's preference and knowing what position you're in generally as an artist. I mean, if you're comfortable enough to drop an album straight, that's cool. If you're comfortable enough to drop a single straight, that's cool. I don't think that ain't in the miteto yakona. I mean, it's just preference, seeing what works for you. Yeah, because man, just a good generation that'll consume everything anyway, you know? You drop that single, they'll take it, they'll consume it. That's what you cover. You drop an album, that's what we store about you tag, you know, or on iTunes or wherever it is, or whatever platform you dropped it on. So however you do it, as long as the music's dope, it's gonna work.
Okay, so let's talk Africa and the rest of the world. Are you trying to tap in, or are you still keeping it an SA for now, hoping that it'll just happen on its own, or is it something you actively push?
If I'm trying to keep it here, then it does make sense for me to be the king of African rap, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna go here, you know? But I don't want anything forced, you know? I don't want to, like, I like things, you know? Like, my career is always, like, not the way cooling my con, it's just been organic, you know? It's never been forced, and what I'd like to believe. So if I'm gonna go into, let's say, the DRC, you know? I would need to go into the DRC, I don't wanna force myself into the DRC and say, okay, as in, man, I'm moving into the DRC, or the connection as ban or whatever the case, you know. I need everything to be okay. I need them to be exposed to my music, and I need them to like it, and I need them to say, yo, Siakufuna, so right, you know what I'm saying? And because I'll appreciate that a whole lot more than a grand marketing strategy that lands me up on some stage where no one knows me. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather have it grow, but I mean, we've done collaborations, you know, from African artists. Well, all of us as African artists. I mean, we've broken down the borders with regards to music. I mean, it's like becoming one thing now, you know. I mean, you have a WizKid come here, shoot a video. Then you have a so-and-so go to Nigeria, shoot a video. You have a Ghanaian artist come here, you know what I mean? So it's like it's becoming one thing. So the oneness is really going to help spread the music around more, like, easier. It's going to be a whole lot easier, and it's going to go a whole lot further. So I'd like to be a part of that, but organic.
I like that. No, young, yo, hold on to this and put me on. Well, there's no other way to get to king status, so you have to put the work and the hours in.
You know, when everyone looks back at you or whatever you've done,
it must make sense.
It actually connects.
Yeah.
It connects, and everybody that was the connect, I was like, how did you do it without me? You know what I mean? So that's when you owe it all to yourself.
Okay, well, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Far from underrated. But shout out on the cover. We see you. We see you. Also, own the king of African rap. I think you can run with it.
New attitudes. I'm owning it. I'm taking it. Whoever doubts it must just go. Yeah, somewhere. Just not around me.
We won't say where. No, sometimes we won't say where.
No, thanks
Thank you so very much.
Appreciate it.